So people, hope everyone is good. So I did promise I was going to make a video breakdown on how we took Connor, my client, from this to this in just in the space of 4 months. I'm still working with Con right now. We are working towards a photo shoot prep, so we're still working on getting leaner. So to give you a run through with all my clients on the first initial consultation call, I'll get like a very in-depth understanding of what exactly they've done in the past and what exactly they need to do to improve. So I'll break it down in full detail during the first initial consultation call. So everyone is a little bit different, and I have clients coming to me who might want to do a transformation enhanced with the use of PEDs, and I also have clients coming to me who want to do a transformation completely natural. Connor is one of my natural transformations. We did not incorporate anything apart from creatine. We didn't even use any fat burners, just wasn't necessary. And throughout this transformation, Connor actually went on holiday quite a few times, and it didn't set him back at all, just because we took the essential steps to collect the right data to assess how certain foods affect his look and his physique. So with all my clients, I give them a full tailored program, and we've gone through quite a few training phases already. So the first phase was a hypertrophy phase, and this was essentially to get his strength to a really, really good level. And as we got deeper in the fat loss phase, I've now switched him to a FST7 phase. So this is something that's more advanced. It's not something I would typically put a client on straight off the bat. But Connor was at a point where he was getting leaner. He was able to manage the training volume well from the first phase. So the FST7 is really, really great for bringing out more of the condition and bringing up certain body parts. So we mostly have been focusing a lot on his top line, bringing up his back and shoulders, and obviously the chest, legs as well, so, and throughout the fat loss phase so far, he's actually gotten stronger. So to give you a run through of how exactly the process works is, the first thing you want to keep in check through a fat loss phase is your leptin levels. Now, Connor had experience going through fat loss phases in the past. The only thing is he wasn't quite able to achieve that condition which he wanted, and this is what we're working towards right now. So essentially, most of you are probably already aware you want to be in a calorie deficit to lose weight, and there's a few ways to go about that. It's not always just dropping your food down super low. So obviously your energy input is going to be lower than your energy output. Now, we actually kept Connor's food fairly on the higher side, but we just made sure his training volume was high enough and he was doing enough cardio to allow himself to be in a deficit to lose the weight. As you get deeper in a fat loss phase, you want to keep your leptin levels in check. Your leptin is a hormone in your body which regulates your hunger. And what happens is when your leptin and your ghrelin hormone goes too low, you will essentially start to get hungry, and that's where you end up binging. So there's a few tweaks and a few manipulations within the diet which you can make, such as using a refeed day or having scheduled cheat meals, which will help keep these hormones in check and allow you to dig as deep as possible to achieve that elite level condition, right? So within my coaching, with all my clients, I focus on optimizing the return of investment. And this is essentially the amount of time you spend in the gym. We want to maximize the benefit you're getting out of it. So some of my clients might only train 3 times a week. In Connor's case, he trains about 4 to 5 times a week. But there were some weeks where he only trained 3 times, And it all comes down to the person. It's individual per person. Not everyone is best suited to train 5 days a week, especially depending on their work schedule and other external factors. So I always keep that in mind. There's no kind of cookie cutter approach. It's all individual to the person I'm working with, and I work very, very closely with all my clients. Even within myself, I've gone through a lot of phases throughout my competitive career as a men's physique athlete of where my training has changed, and in different phases during the year, depending on when I'm on prep, depending on when I'm in a growth phase, depending if I just came off prep, of the frequency and volume of my training. Same with my diet. So when it comes to adding the appropriate constraints in your diet, the way I structure it with my clients is I get to know my clients. I get to know what foods they like. I get to know what exactly their lifestyle habits are. And I structure the meal plan according to their life circumstances. Because everyone's life circumstances are different. There's no one set approach. Say, for example, like a professional athlete, like IFBB Pro, they may have all the time in the world. Or someone like myself, I'm a full-time online coach, so I have the time to cook all my meals fresh, whereas someone else might not. So I might give them options of their meals which are very easy to prepare and which are not time consuming to get down, right? And this will allow them to adhere to the meal plan along with whatever kind of hectic work schedule they may be working. And Connor, just like everyone else, works full time. So supplementation, in terms of the supplements with Connor, we didn't have to use anything apart from like creatine. And I always give options to my clients, if they want to incorporate fat burners, if they don't, it all depends on what they're comfortable with. But I'm never the type of person to push someone to use a certain supplement or use a certain PED. It's all down to the person. I'm not also the type of person to control someone. If they come to me, they want to use certain PEDs, they want to use certain supplements, I will show them the safest way to do it, the health risks that may potentially come with it, and overall, I'm not here to control any of my clients. I'm here to provide a service to them, and that's the way I approach it with everyone. So with the accountability system, the way it works with my clients is, same with Connor, we essentially have a check-in system. So each week, check in, and we track progress. So we track the weight, we track body measurements, and he's been progressively getting leaner, especially in the last couple weeks. So this is his weight log, consistently been going down. So he's done a very, very good job. So if you actually look, this is actually where we were focusing on building a bit more muscle. And then we entered the fat loss phase and his weight has been steadily declining. So he's done an awesome job, massive levels of dedication, big props to Connor. So if I was to just break his meal plan, what it is right now, we have done a slight decrease in the carbs. His meal plan was high in calories at the beginning, but we're gradually decreasing the carb intake now. And we've incorporated carb cycling, a very basic form of carb cycling, and this also depends from person to person. If a person comes to me who's might be a little bit more on the heavier side, I might give them more low carb days on their leg days and certain other training days to allow them to drop off the waterway as quick as possible. In Connor's case, he just needed a few minor tweaks to his macro intake to optimize performance and achieve that condition. He did not have a problem losing weight. He just needed the guidance how to go about doing it in the right way, which is more sustainable for him. So if we go down on his macro intake, now he's eating around 2,000 calories. So now he's on slightly lower intake, 170 grams carbs on his training days, 163 grams of protein on his training days as well. Now, obviously, this is all individual to the person. Some people need way more protein, some people need way less. And I will actually review Connor's meal plan this week again, because depending on how his performance is and how things are going, but so far everything's been working for him. Fats are like moderate amount, 50 grams. So his low carb days, his carbs are even lower, but his protein is higher, right? So these meals, essentially, they all differentiate from person to person. So someone might not cooperate that well with eating beef mince, so I'll switch that out for them. In terms of supplementation, right? So before I go move on to the supplements, actually, we'll break down his cardio. So he's not doing anything crazy, just 45 minutes, very basic amount, just to ensure his energy output is high enough. Incline 12, speed 5.5, 8 to 10k steps daily. Depending on the person's circumstances, they may already be getting 12 to 15k steps. I usually average 10k steps without even trying. So these aspects are all beneficial to track to ensure that you're going to get the result which you want, and this is what I take care of for all my clients. Now to break down the supplementation, because I do incorporate supplements with all my clients to optimize their performance, recovery, sleep, and stress, right? So 4,000 units of vitamin D3. Typically when you're cutting, it can sometimes be beneficial to take a higher dose of vitamin D3 just to help immune system, help with sleep, and help with recovery, right? 1 tab of vitamin B12. This is so beneficial to manage fatigue, especially on a fat loss phase. 1,000 milligrams of ashwagandha. This just helps manage cortisol levels, manage stress. I take all this stuff myself personally. So this is not something that is just I just throw around to my clients. This is all stuff I have put into practice myself while prepping for shows. 1,000 milligrams of omegas and 10 grams of creatine. So we upped the creatine to 10 grams just to make sure he's going to maintain and if not get stronger throughout the whole cut. You can take 10 grams of creatine. You can obviously split it, but it makes a massive difference in recovery and strength. This is something we've only added recently as he's gotten leaner. 500 milligrams of testosterone, which is essentially like a plant-based natural test booster, which works really, really well. And we've only added it about 2 weeks ago. So this should help him build more muscle and obviously make the fat loss journey smoother, and he's going to experience less fatigue because obviously his test levels are going to be naturally higher, right? So that obviously plays a part, and that can, when you utilize things like this at the right moments, it can have a massive, massive effect, you know, on your physique and on your performance, and also increase in strength. So it's very important that you are aware of which variables to change depending on the time period, right? And that's how you can achieve a transformation like this just in the space of 4 months. And big props to Connor, you know, because he's been absolutely smashing it. So I'm gonna put this video out there. I hope this helps some of you guys and gives you guys more of an idea of how to program things and the variables which need to be managed in order to achieve an elite level transformation like this. So stay tuned for more content like this. Thank you for watching, guys.